And on the biggest story tonight, let's go straight to Aprameya. Radhakrishnan, co-founder, Coup, joining us on the biggest story tonight. Aprameya, you run a social media intermediary called Coup. Have you followed the government guidelines?
Absolutely. So we already released our statement well before the deadline, saying that the guidelines are truly in the favor of the users. So the users should be able to lodge their complaint and get their redressal without any problem. And if it's standardized across all social media, it becomes easier, right? So I think it puts everybody on a level playing field. And it's very necessary because even on the roads of India, you have traffic rules, right? If you don't have those rules, everybody will be jumping signals. Everybody will be doing whatever they want. So it is extremely essential that the rogue elements on internet are always thinking twice before they say whatever they want. Right? So I think it's a step in the right direction for the 99% and above users who actually want to use it in the right way, use internet and social networks in the right way. We should make it a safe place for them, and hence we've complied.
Okay, you've complied. Now, as someone in the same space, now you would classify also as a significant social media intermediary by the government's own definition, which I was able to sort of go through in the course of our coverage on this issue. You have roughly over 5 million users. Now, why are these guidelines important? Why don't you break it down for our viewers? Okay, let me put it this way, Aprameya. How simple are these guidelines, and are they really interfering with your functioning as some are making it out to be?
No, it's not really interfering, right? So the appointment of 3 officers that are required. One officer is required for redressal of the user complaints, right? That's the chief grievance officer. Then there's the nodal officer who basically has to be appointed so that the government or any other authority should be able to contact the company in case there is any problem, right, with what is being posted on the platform. And there is a chief compliance officer who basically make sure that the company and the platform is complying with everything that is required according to the guidelines. So I think it's a fair ask because we as a company registered in India, as citizens of India, we follow all the rules. We pay our income taxes, we follow traffic rules, we follow all the rules that are set to us. Right? Every business, every industry does. So this is no special place, right? If the government of India is telling us, here are some guidelines which makes the user experience better, and for us to make social media a safer place, we're actually leading the way for the world to know how social media companies can do better for users. Right? So it's an evolving, technology is always evolving, and policies will always follow it, and this is the right way to do it. And there are 3 pillars, right? There is the government, there is users above everybody else, and there is the platform. There will always be constant dialogue, and if ever, not that these guidelines are very user-centric, but if ever, as a platform, we feel, okay, users are feeling a little here and there about something, we will always have a dialogue. Right now, there is no such concern, and we've gone ahead and actually complied with everything. Okay.
So when a platform like, let's say Twitter, and I don't want to get you into a political debate, but when a platform says, and I quote, and this comes from their headquarters, a statement comes, and I'm reading straight from their statement. It says, "We, alongside many in civil society in India and around the world, have concerns with regards to the use of intimidation tactics by the police in response to enforcement of our global terms of service, as well as with core elements of the new IT rules. We continue to be strictly guided by principle of transparency, commitment to empowering every voice and protecting freedom of expression. But right now we are concerned by recent events regarding our employees in India, potential threat to freedom of expression for the people that we serve." Now, on this free speech debate, now, is it about free speech at all, Aprameya? Be honest about it.
Yeah, I think, we started Coup to enable voices onto the internet, especially voices that were not being heard on the internet. right? So we are all about free speech. If who can comply without harming the essence of free speech, everybody else can as well, is my belief.
Okay. Now, as an observer, let me just say, as an observer, what do you make of this, of this debate that's ongoing between the government and some of the social media intermediaries that are not based in India but have their headquarters elsewhere, but have a problem with following the guidelines of the Indian government and the law of the land?
I think, India is a democracy. We have elected our representatives. Every state has their elected representatives. Our country has elected representatives. And it is important for any company, those which reside in India, which are Indian companies, and those who want to do business in India, to be respectful of all laws and comply with them as we do, right? There can't be any special treatment for folks just because they're coming from outside, right? So I think it's extremely important that everybody respects the democracy of India, and the democracy of India enables freedom of speech. And with all the freedom of speech that we get, there will be rogue elements, and that is what we are trying to curtail, right, on coup, right, by abiding to the guidelines.
Yeah. Now, how important, a couple of last questions. Now, how important is it for you to have a, let's say, a grievance redressal? For example, if someone's tweet is deleted or account is pulled down, now, is there a grievance redressal cell? How important is it for you to have such a cell so that people can actually find out what really happened? What's the way forward? Why is this important in a social media intermediary?
Yeah, it's important because the person might not be aware of the laws under which this has been pulled down, whether it's the person's profile or what they've said, right? So while it might be pulled down for various reasons, which might be against the laws of the land, the person should be able to contest as well. And when they contest, the right reason should be given. The right reason should be linked to the constitution of the country, right? The right reason cannot be solely linked to my idea of freedom of expression, or what we call selective freedom of expression, right? What I think is right shouldn't be right. I am nobody. Who is nobody? We haven't been elected, nor has any other social media company to run the country of India, right? So it's very, very important that all three, the users, the government, and the platforms, all talk to each other and understand, what is best for the user at all times. And in this case, I think there is everything that is going for the user, and hence there is no problem in complying with the guidelines.
Yeah. One last question now. Was it part of a consultative process? Now, am I right or wrong? The new guidelines that intermediaries are being asked to adhere to, were they all drafted after a consultative process? If yes, who was part of that consultative process? And how simple has the entire procedure been to ensure that you comply with? How long does it take for you to sort of respond to a query like this? Because it came in February. I remember February is when this debate started, right? And we're in May. It's taken 3 months. How simple a procedure is it? And tell us a little bit about the consultative process. Because if it did come in after a consultative process, and if stakeholders were consulted, then there's no reason why there should be a problem now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were asked for feedback. We also provided our feedback. There were various bodies which have, gone through and given their feedback to the government as well. So I think it's been a to and fro, and we've been heard out. One. Second, how easy has it been? We've actually had people who are already looking after these aspects of the business. The grievances of the user, a person to respond to the relevant government body if ever contacted, and overall, because the guidelines came now, we now have appointed a compliance officer as well. So we've identified people from within, and one new hire who has come in, who will be the chief compliance officer. So I think it's not as complicated to execute. It is about whether you want to comply or not.
Okay. Aprameya, thank you for speaking to Republic TV. Very interesting debate. Now, nobody saw it come to this, but hopefully people, better sense prevails and people will decide to abide by the law of the land. Let's see where it goes. Thank you for joining us on Republic TV, Aprameya.
Thank you. Thank you so much.